I've just been thinking, sitting here thinking of either a gerbil or a hamster on one of these wheels whizzing round. And you wonder, what on earth are you thinking about that for? And the reason why I'm thinking about it is that I know that what we're talking about, this relationship that's personal communion with God on a daily basis. And one of the things I remember, C.S. Lewis, I think in the Screwtape Letters, he says, look, keep them busy. Keep them busy. Because if you keep them busy, they won't hear. They won't hear that voice. They won't hear the Holy Spirit. And I think in the day and age in which we live, that's exactly what the enemy is doing. Not just to those who are not Christians, but even to Christians. So he keeps us on this treadmill, and we talked about that thing about Johnny was saying about those accusations that have been thrown at us and everything else like that. And so the enemy is constantly, he just wants to keep you busy. He wants to keep you on the defense. He wants to keep you in a place where you can't hear. And so the idea you said about meditating, and most of us, we kind of like, what does that mean? Like, does it mean kind of sitting there and going home and whatever? I am learning after so long a time as a Christian, and to put a personal thing on it, is that I had forgotten what it was like just to be quiet. Just to be quiet. Not even coming into prayer to actually say this or that to God. Because the tendency is once I open my mouth, I stop hearing. And so allowing and learning no longer to be afraid of the quietness. And allowing the quietness, because in the quietness, where did Elijah hear God?
Small.
In the still, small voice. And I think some of us think, oh, the Holy Spirit said this, and the Holy Spirit that, and there are people out there that are going, what do you mean? Where do I start with that? And the first place, I used to call, do you remember years ago we had these things called snow globes? You had this half globe, and inside it you had a grotto, and there was snow, and then you literally shook it up and down, and the snow swirled around, and you saw nothing because there was just this swirling snow. But if you put it on the table and leave it there for 10 minutes, what happened was all the snow starts to fall to the ground, and you see perfectly what is actually in front of you. I used to call that my snow globe moment, because it allows me to stop the din of the voices of the enemy saying you're this, you're that, you're the other, and then stop you being the other person on the other side of your head going, you're this, you're that, the other. And you begin to hear the Lord saying, you're mine. And it's that personal sense, what you're talking about, the personal relationship with God, but it has to start in those places. Not we get there, okay, I have to read 10 verses of this, I have to do 10 verses of that, and I have to petition God for that. God's saying, shut up. And God is calling us. And I'm only relearning this again. And it's scary, because most of us can't spend 5 minutes on our own in quiet. And so it's something that we need to, but as you do, you hear the sounds of nature, you hear the sounds of screaming kids in the background, or the sounds of birds, but it brings your spirit down to that quiet place, and you're now able to come into the presence of God, and He's able to speak to you and say, those things that are being said about you, either from the enemy or from yourself, they're not true.